It's February 19th, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have an inventor chasing voices from beyond the grave, men emerging from blackened waters, and a mind reduced to matter on a laboratory table. Let's begin. On February 19th, 1877, Thomas Edison was quietly reshaping the world of sound. Inside his laboratory at Menlo Park, the man, who would be called the Wizard, wasn't just chasing ghosts. He was perfecting something far more tangible, a machine that could capture human voice and play it back after the speaker had gone silent. That year, Edison patented the phonograph, a simple machine, yet when it spoke for the first time, witnesses described the moments as unsettling, as if the machine had remembered. Decades later, in 1920, Edison would tell the American magazine that he had been working on something else, an apparatus, a device sensitive enough to detect units of life that might persist after death. Not a seance, not a medium. He dismissed those as crude, as if the dead could speak through science, not superstition, and this would be the way to hear them. The press called it a spirit phone, and in 1926, Edison told the New York Times it had all been a joke, a reporter's exaggeration. Yet rumors lingered, and some research points to references of a missing final diary chapter, preserved only in a French translation, describing strange theories about consciousness after death. Edison built a machine that allowed voices to outlive their owners. In that sense, it let the dead whisper back, and every time an old recording crackles to life, it feels like proof he was closer than we think. On February 19, 1942, as dawn broke over the rocky coast of Newfoundland, figures began to emerge from a storm. They didn't look human at first. They were blackened, staggering, and silent. Hours earlier, in a blinding chaos of an Ash Wednesday gale, the destroyer, the USS Tuxton, and the cargo ship, the USS Pollux, had run ashore in the jagged cliffs near the St. Lawrence. The winds howled, waves smashed against stone, and 203 American sailors would not survive the night, but some did. Those who made it ashore were drenched in a thick bunker oil from the ruptured ships. The oil coated their faces, their uniforms, and their hands, and in the dim gray light, they looked like shadows crawling out of the sea. Local miners and townspeople rushed towards them. They carried the men over cliffs and ice and cut ropes into the freezing surf. They dragged strangers from the black water that smelled of fuel and death. Inside the community halls, women scrubbed away the oil, and the moment is still recounted decades later. They came out of the ocean looking like shadows, and they left the St. Lawrence looking like sons, brothers, and friends. On February 19, 1837, in a quiet room in Zurich, Switzerland, a 23-year-old genius lay dying. His name was Georg Büchner, a dramatist, a revolutionary, and a scientist whose mind seemed decades ahead of his time. For 17 days, typhus burned through his body. Just months earlier, he had been lecturing in anatomy at the University of Zurich, dissecting the mysteries of the nervous system. He had published groundbreaking studies on the neutral structure of fish. Work so precise stunned his contemporaries. He wasn't just a poet of the revolution, he was mapping the architect of the human brain. And then the fever came. As his body weakened, his literary voice had begun. He had written the Dante's Death in 5 frantic weeks, and he had drafted Leonis and Leah, and in scattered pages laid Wozzeck, a fragmented drama about madness and desperation that would not fully be understood for nearly a century. When he died, his brain was preserved for scientific study, as if even in death scholars sensed something rare had been extinguished. His plays would be forgotten for decades, then rediscovered. The man mapping the brain could not outthink his fever that stopped his own. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.